Welcome to The Fight with Teddy Atlas. I'm Ken Rideout, joined as always by the great Teddy Atlas. First episode back since we were in camp with Alex Gvozdyk. Teddy, how you feeling?
I mean, down. What are you gonna do? I feel like I didn't come through.
I know what you mean.
I mean, my fighter left it all in the ring. Was ahead going on the scorecards. Two of the scorecards going into the 10th in a very tough fight. We knew what we were facing. And I'm very proud of him. But, maybe not as proud of myself.
I know what you mean.
You win or you lose, And,
yeah. Well,
my responsibility to make sure he wins. But anyway, so it takes time.
Yeah. I know.
I feel it. I'll be on the subway train coming here and be distracted, and everything's good. Then all of a sudden, it hit me, and not complaining. I'm privileged to be able to have those pains. It's a privilege to have pain sometimes when the pain represents, an opportunity, and represented an opportunity to do something special for yourself, for your family, fathers. So again, I don't lose sight of that. Never going to see a pity party. But you ask a question, an honest question, you get an honest answer. Or at least you should.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it hits you. Hey, we lost. And you feel that drop in your stomach, your heart, whatever you want to call it. So, but there's a lot of dimensions to it. It's not simple.
Mm-hmm.
But the simple part is we didn't win. So.
Having been there with you for 8 weeks, I know exactly what you're describing. It was basically all the focus of all your energy for 8 straight weeks into one task. And when you're so immersed in it, the thought of losing didn't even really enter my mind. I was just so convinced that we were doing everything right. I had never even let it enter. One of the things that you had preached from early in the camp is we don't think about anything negative. We don't talk about negative things. We just focus on the positive and doing the right things. So I think even now when I think about it, it seems shocking to me. Like, I can't believe that happened. I was so convinced that we were going to win.
Yeah, I mean, you were a witness. You were a witness every step of the way. And I'm sure that your perspective on this game has changed.
Dramatically. And there's a lot of things I want to talk about with regards to the technicalities of the camp and the fight itself. I want to give a quick shout out to our newest sponsor, Athletic Greens. And again, like a lot of the other sponsors we've had on the show, this is someone that I reached out to myself. I use this product. I love it. It's the one thing that I always make sure I take. If there's one thing, when people ask me if there's one thing that you could tell me like that I should be taking in terms of health and fitness, it's Athletic Greens. It's like a daily vitamin in a drink form. Like I said, I reached out to them. I'm going to read you a couple of the bullets just because I want to make sure I give you the facts. And basically, this is the ultimate all-in-one supplement for the body with 75 vitamins, minerals, whole food sourced ingredients. It includes prebiotics, probiotics, digestive enzymes, adaptogens, superfoods, and more. Go to athleticgreens.com/Atlas and you'll get 20 free servings in the form of travel packs, which is what I use when I'm traveling. Again, valued at $79. They know you'll love this product so much, they'll give you a 60-day money-back guarantee. So give them a try. I know people are going to log on and think it's a little bit pricey, but when you factor in the 20 free travel packs, it comes out to basically $250 a day, less than a cup of coffee. And again, to me, it's probably the most important supplement I take. And I know you liked it when we were in camp, Teddy.
Half the cost of a cup of coffee if you go to freaking Starbucks.
That's for sure.
I mean, you've been there lately, like $4.50?
I've been there lately. I went there every day for 8 weeks.
I mean, it's a good deal. You asked me how I felt, and one of the reasons I feel okay physically but not mentally is I was taking that stuff and it helped. It in camp, it does make sense when you got a lot of things going on to be able to take something that gives you everything quick. That's condensed nutriment from this, in a very straightforward layman's way, making sure that if you miss something during the day, you really didn't miss it. And it feels good.
Yeah.
It feels good. You're drinking something that is the right stuff. Like you could just, it. You know that you're drinking the right stuff. And again, there's a reason why I look better in camp than I'm going to look now. I got to get back on it. I got to, in camp it was easier. I make full confessions, because you're on a program. You're in a routine. You get up in the morning and you swallow that stuff. You know what I mean? And bang, you're ready. You're good to go. You're home. No, I got some grandkids to take care of. And they're not drinking athletic greens. As good as it is, they're not drinking that yet.
And you got a new one. You got a new addition, right? Congratulations. New granddaughter, born shortly after the fight. Perfect timing.
Yeah,
Give
beautiful.
you something to take your mind off the fight.
Yeah, beautiful little Rose. Beautiful little princess. Mara Riley Fazio, my daughter, she's a special girl. And she's an attorney, too. So proud of my kids. I'm lucky. My wife did a good job. And my son, of course, works for the Oakland Raiders, and he's got a little boy. We don't see him enough. He's in California. My daughter lives an hour away in Jersey, and she's staying with us now. She had a C-section. She gave birth last Monday, and to a beautiful little girl. 7 pounds 8 ounces, 7 pounds 10 ounces, and her name, like I said, Mara Riley Fazio, and my daughter got the two names from the great grandmothers. She took Mara from my wife's mother's first name, and she took Riley from my mother's maiden name, which was very nice of her. And just a beautiful, beautiful little girl. Sounds like a little bird. She just, she makes these little squeaks, and she makes the house a lot more happier and a lot more beautiful, and makes you forget about certain things when you see her.
Yep.
And then I got my other little beautiful grandson that my daughter has, little Joseph. And there's nothing better than to be able to go in the house and I say to him, "How you doing, buddy?" "Hey, buddy." "How you, buddy?" That's pretty good.
Yeah. And one other thing before we get into the fight, Teddy has his new audio book coming out this coming Monday, November 4th, on Amazon. Check it out. It's there for pre-order. It's called Atlas, From the Streets to the Ring, A Son's Journey to Become a Man. And it's a great book. I've read it a couple of times. I think fans of the show will really like it. If you haven't read it already and you like audiobooks, check it out this coming Monday on Amazon.com. Let's get into the fight.
Yeah, we have to. This is this is what we do. You have a responsibility to talk about it. And I don't know if I need to put qualifiers out there, but I'll put out there that I'm going to talk about it the same as I talk about it if I hadn't trained this fighter. Mm-hmm. I think that I can do that.
And having been there, I can tell you that I can imagine how hard this is going to be for you, because I know what kind of relationship you have with Alex and how much, like I said, I can't stress to people enough. For 8 weeks, everything this kid did was the focus of all of our energy. I mean, making sure he had enough water, making sure he had enough sleep. I mean, it was all hands on deck. It was 100% different than what I had anticipated. And that being said, starting with camp, I thought that camp went fairly well. But again, that was the first and only camp I've been involved with. But I'd be curious to hear what you think, how it went relative to your expectations, and what you think in hindsight we could have or should have done differently.
I think we did everything right. I mean, from a physical and technical standpoint, he had the right strategy, the right idea, the right plan. I think it showed itself. I mean, I can't just say something. I mean, it's there to be seen. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's a reason why he was winning going into the 10th round. I mean, against a very difficult opponent. But, there's also a reason why we didn't win at the end. And that has a lot to do with Beterbiev. I think I'll say it again. I think Alex left everything in the ring, and I'm proud of him. And as a human being, as a fighter, as a champion, I think I'll come back and be a champion again. I think that I think the same way as the Klitschko's when they were on their way up, and they were dominant, and I picked them. They were dominant heavyweight champions. They were from the Ukraine, They lost, they got stopped a couple times, especially the younger one. And the older one did too. He got stopped by Bird, I believe.
Yeah,
Chris Bird.
That's right.
And they went on to become champions and dominant champions for, the younger one for maybe a decade. So obviously their winning had something to do with their losing too, So it's what you gain from it, not just what you gain from it mentally and, intellectually, what you could do better or differently. It's emotionally what you gain, mentally what you gain. You go to places you've never been before, and now those places. They're not new to you. They're familiar.
Yeah.
You have a flashlight the next time you go to them, and I believe that's going to happen. And it's probably happening already, part of the process, but because he's a winner. But you get tested. As you go through, you got to hear the whispering in your ears, the screaming in your ears from different people that know everything. I wish I knew everything like they did. I really do. I wish I knew everything the way they did. I just wish they knew it before.
Yeah.
Something terrible happens. But so be it. So be life. Again, can't complain. Look at the position. Look how blessed I am. And Alex, too. We have beautiful families. We have these opportunities. Again, it's no pity parties over here.
Like you said, there's a laundry list of great champions who've suffered setbacks and come back and become better. And one of the guests that we had on the show before, Julian Williams, had 2 losses, came back and beat Jared Hurd and took basically 2 or 3 of the belts in the weight division. And he's a perfect example. And he talked about that on the show.
And those losses make you a champion
Yep.
in some cases. I remember going way back when Boom Boom Mancini got stopped by the great Alexis Arguello, and then he comes back and wins the world title. Without that fight, he doesn't win the world title.
Yep.
I remember Sugar Ray Leonard, losing to Duran. Without that fight, he doesn't beat Hearns.
Yep.
Later, he needed that. Who's going to say, I need a loss? Come on, get the hell out of here. But he needed that, Not to be a better fighter technically. I don't think he was any better technically. He might have used his technique in a different way, but he didn't learn anything that way. But to know what he didn't know about himself. And to know that the roof that we put on ourselves, the ceiling that we put on ourselves, we put it on ourselves.
Yep.
It really wasn't placed there. And now we can move.
Point.
Yeah, and now we can move it higher. Because it's our call. It's where we're willing to go, where we know we can go versus where we didn't realize we could go. So, those kind of things. And there's a lot of things like you just brought up the camp. I thought it was a good camp. I thought that we did the technical things we needed to, the physical things we needed to, and we paid attention to everything. And he looked good. He looked good. But again, it's not take anything away from how special Beterbiev was too. But even with all that, there's certain things that during camp, there was a couple left turns when you want to make a right. There's always something. There's always something in camp. You go to a football camp, you don't think guys get injured. You don't think guys are playing injured from before the season starts, after the first practice starts, or something's wrong, you don't know about it. Because that's part of the deal. That's part of the game. That's part of the turf, baby. You deal with it. There was a few things in camp, but we dealt with it. It wasn't perfect, but we dealt with it. It's part of being a champion. It's part of being a pro. Do you think these pros that get up, that how do you differentiate a pro from a guy who's good? Two guys good, they get up, go to work. They both have diarrhea. They're both sick. They didn't expect it. The pro goes to work.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even know it. You don't even know it. Unless you're watching how many times he has to run into the bathroom. But you don't even know it.
I know what you mean.
The other guy, just as good in college, maybe at the top of his class, just as good in all the areas, whatever we're talking, whatever particular, vocation we're talking about right now. Just as good. He takes the day off. Takes the day off. You know what I mean?
Of course.
I mean, that's all part. And listen, Alex didn't take no days off. Anyway, it's hard, but, we get in a fight. I felt that where I'm to blame is that I didn't slow him down early. He was racing too fast. There's a lot of things that the people aren't going to understand, but it's my job to make it as simple to follow as possible in a thing that's not that simple. In an area, there's a lot of underlying things that are difficult for somebody to understand. But I always say this business is 75% mental, so let's start understanding that. And you don't know, as much as you try to keep track of all those things, you don't know the mental currents that are running underneath. It's the current if you go out on the shore, if you go out on the seashore, you could get caught by an undercurrent and you could drown.
Mm-hmm.
Boom, just like that. Bang, you're gone. It didn't look like nothing, but it was underneath. You didn't see it. And it's no different here. I mean, the mental currents run underneath. They run in different directions, different way where you think you're dealing with them. You think that you know that there's a riptide out there, so you try to stay away from those areas. You try to deal with those areas, but you're not aware all the time. As much as you try, you're not aware what's going on deep and silently inside a human being. You try to be aware. It's my job to be freaking aware. Without seeing telltale signs, to know that he's facing a guy that he lost to in the amateurs, a guy who's a world amateur champion in the amateurs, a guy who was a two-time Olympian, a guy who's 14-0 with 14 knockouts, a guy who has a great, great reputation, a fearful reputation to some people in the parts that he came from because of how good he was in the amateurs and in the pros, and so those things, you have to every day. You got to check boxes every day. Is his jab working right? Is he slipping punches right? Is he getting to the sides right? Is he countering right? Is he controlling range right? Check, and you keep going over it. But those other boxes, the mental parts, you check that. I take walks with him. You talk to him, and you find things out. But do you get to all the boxes? Do you get to them all, Ken? It's hard. I mean, and those are, and listen, there's, at the end of the day, I'm the one who, if I don't, it's my fault.
Mm-hmm.
It's my fault. And one of the things you got to understand, I understood it, the anxiety going into this fight more than any other fight for this kid, based on all the things I just said. The anxiety. Mm-hmm. People out there, can you weigh anxiety, how much that wears you and tears at you and burns at you? Have you ever been through that? I'm sure you have. Where you've ever said to someone, I'm so tired. It's not physical, it's mental. I feel like I can't walk. I feel like I can't. And it's not physical. It's not like I did that much, but I just feel worn. I got to sleep for 2 days.
Yep.
You ever? I know right?
Especially if you have a physical activity coming up, like a running race or in Alex's case, a fight. Yeah, I think I said that to you leading up the week of the fight. We were tapering for the fight, and I just remember feeling like, my God, I'm exhausted. Just the load of all the anxiety.
So just imagine
I
and
can't.
Multiply it by 100,000 million. Okay?
I don't know.
Anxiety on steroids. And I'm just saying, everyone, but you get paid for that. That's what we do. So okay, but it's my job to sift through and see if I can help in one little cavern of a place. And obviously I didn't quite examine maybe all those caverns quite enough, but I knew it. I know what we're dealing with, and I know how special Alex is, and he showed it. He showed it. There's nothing on him. It's all on me. Because at the beginning, with all this, he was running too fast. He looked terrific. He was winning the rounds. A lot of people, even in the corner, hey, he looks good. And I was like, he's running too fast. To myself, I'm talking to myself. I'm having a conversation with myself. It's like no one else exists, because I'm only seeing it. Everyone else is seeing what they want to see. I'm seeing what I have to see. He's running too fast. You're a race guy. You're really, all kidding aside, you run really good in the races, and you train hard, and you were training in camp, and you got a big race coming up soon, and you're running a marathon, and you run marathons. You can't sprint the first 6 miles.
You can make a mistake of trying to keep up with someone else early who might be an idiot, and next thing you know, you're
part of it's out of your
too
control.
far
It's
over your
just,
skis.
when you all these things I just said, and then I'm watching, and everyone say, "Wow, he looks good." Wow, oh, and I'm watching him say, "This ain't good. He's going too fast." And I tried in the corner, calm down, slow down, in the corner.
Yep.
But I didn't get the job done. I didn't get it done. I didn't freaking get it done. And he shouldn't have went out that fast. I didn't want him to go out that fast, but obviously I let it happen. And when you're going that fast, again, I'll use the analogy of the marathon, where you're running, you got 26 miles ahead of you, and you're running the first 6 miles like a sprint. You're gonna burn. I don't care what kind of shape you're in.
That's right.
You're gonna burn up. You're gonna burn up. You're gonna burn up. You're gonna burn up.
In the marathon, they tell you that the halfway point is 20 miles because the last 6 are what counts.
Yeah.
And when you've exerted yourself, just like in a fight, if you've exerted yourself,
no matter what kind of shape you're in,
the last 6 rounds are going to be hellacious.
And it was just him feeling what he was feeling and burning fast, and God bless him. He was winning. I mean, he was winning going into the 10th, but then the wall came, and again, people think it's all physical. No, it's what I'm trying to describe to you. I'm trying to describe to you that it's other things that's burning at you and making you burn up that fast. And again, I'm supposed to be cognizant of it. I'm the general here. I'm supposed to not let that happen, to slow that down. And I did. I tried to slow it down. But you know that old saying, the horse is out of the barn? Yep. Sometimes. And so, that's where, I'll be taking a walk, or I'll be driving a car and a light catches me, and I'll be at the light, and I'll be daydreaming for 2 seconds, and bang. That's what I'm thinking. Why did I let him go that fast? We went too fast. And, but he had to, some of the things he was doing, slipping the jab, going around the right to counter with right hands, keeping him off balance. But the pressure to know you had to do that, and you had to do that in an unrelenting way. You had to do it round after round after round. That pressure was already burning at him. Yeah. And those are the things that it's hard to explain. And, he'll be better for it. He'll be better now. He'll be better. But, again, I'm going to call this freaking thing the same way as if I didn't train him. And because that's my job. Because otherwise, why have a podcast?
Yeah, Teddy, I just want to interrupt for a second to take a quick pause and give another shout out to our newest sponsor, Athletic Greens. Again, I can't stress to you how impressed I am with these guys. I've been using this product for over a year now. It's my go-to product in terms of daily supplements, vitamins. It's the ultimate all-in-one supplement for the body with 75 vitamins, minerals, and whole food-sourced ingredients. It includes prebiotics, probiotics, digestive enzymes, adaptogens, superfoods, and more. Special offer for our listeners. Get 20 free Athletic Green travel packs valued at $79 with your first purchase. Simply go to athleticgreens.com/Atlas to register, sign up for your first order, and again, they'll include the 20 free travel packs with you with that order valued at $79. They know you love this product so much, they stand by with a 60-day money-back guarantee, so give it a shot. If you don't like it, send it back. Send the unused portion back. They'll refund your money. That's how confident they are. And honestly, this seems a little expensive when you pull it up on the website, but it's really only $2.50 a serving, so less than a cup of coffee, and you'll get all the nutrients you need. Most people wouldn't think twice about spending $5 for a beer after work, so $2.50 to make sure you're getting your vitamins and minerals in the morning is a small price to pay. Please, if you like the show, support our sponsors. Give these guys a shot. Thanks for listening. We haven't spoken about this since we broke camp, since the fight. We were together at the hospital after the fight. He was getting checked out as a precautionary measures. And after living together for 8 straight weeks and having the disappointment, I felt like I wanted to give you some space because I know you were having a hard time with this. So for listeners, this is the first time we've discussed anything about the fight at all. But now I want to take away the emotions and let's talk about the technicalities, specifics of the fight. Because like you said, he was winning on the score.
It all comes down to what I'm laying out there.
Yep.
The emotional. Mm-hmm. I always say boxing 75% of it is. Sometimes it's 85.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and again, unbiased. If I can't do that after all these years, if I don't have enough dignity to say something that's the truth, to last out there so my kids can feel good about it and other people, then what the frick am I? I mean, you could do that. Mm-hmm. And so I'm saying it as though I called the fight ringside.
Yeah.
And it wasn't my fighter.
Mm-hmm.
And if I did call it ringside, you know what I would be saying? All the things I just said. At the end of the day, Beterbiev's better. Okay? Let's start with that. All right?
I was surprised how tough that guy was. I knew he was tough, but
let me say this. It would have been freaking nice. It would have been nice, okay? I got to control this. But it would have been nice if we had a commissioner. And you know where I'm going? Because I'm going to go there. Because that's where I would have went if I was at ringside. If we would have had a commissioner and a referee that did not allow punches behind the head all night, it would have been okay. It would have been all right. Is that why we lost? No. But it's why we spent 2 nights in the hospital. Mm-hmm. Because the doctors told me. The doctors asked me, did he get hit behind the head? Because there was a lump there.
Oh, you can see the replays.
Did he get hit behind the head? You're not supposed to get hit behind the head. And if you're the commissioner, you're not supposed to let your referee allow it to happen all night long. And listen, I like Greg Serb, the commissioner.
He actually did a great job at the end of the first round when Beterbiev threw him down on the ground.
Before you say a great job.
On that call.
Before you say a great job on that call, I hope if I didn't follow the guy to the corner.
Yeah.
I hope he still would have done that. Are you sure he would have?
No.
No. All right. But let's say he would have. But before you say a great call, and this is part of it, I would have said this at ringside. They corrected, and they came to me, Serb came to me, and I appreciate him for that. Came to me and said, we corrected it. Mm-hmm. We overturned it. It wasn't a knockdown. Because the referee at the end of the round mistaked, he wasn't in position even, and he mistaked a push down as a knockdown.
I would argue it was a takedown versus a push. He kind of slung him down.
And I would argue it was out of his frustration that he lost the round. That he was trying to turn it a little bit.
Right.
Because he's a physical guy.
Yeah, very.
Using what he got to use. I get it. You know, if you're that kind of physical guy, you're going to use it. So he did, but he lost the round. Mm-hmm. Would anyone argue that we won that round?
No.
Nobody. Okay, here's you ready? You're going to get something you didn't realize. because we found out afterwards, Greg Serb came and said we reversed it. But what they didn't reverse was the score on the scorecard. The scorecard was still 10-9 for Beterbiev. Yeah, I know you're shocked.
What?
Yeah, it was. Look at the scorecard. It was 10-9. You know why? Because originally it was 10-8 when they thought it was a knockdown. He went and said, no.
Yeah.
Correct that. So they changed the 9 to an 8. From an 8 to a 9. I'm sorry. They changed the 8 to a 9, but they never thought it through. Serb and nobody thought it through and said, hey, when you do that, you got to change. You got to change the places of the 10.
Of course.
Beterbiev lost the round. You got to make Gvozdyk the winner of the round.
For sure.
But they didn't do that. All they did was change the 8 to a 9. So it wasn't.
I had no idea
That's all they did. So it wasn't scored as a knockdown.
Swing.
It wasn't scored as a knockdown, but it wasn't scored the right way either as a winning round for Gvozdyk. So they didn't do the job right. But I'm going to say something. Again, it's not sour grapes. It's not a pity party. We lost. I say it again. We lost because of what the guy did with his fist.
Yep.
Okay? But I'm breaking it down the way I would have. That's what I'm supposed to do at ringside. When it's 75% mental, maybe 85% mental, and then even more so when you're talking about going into a fight with a guy that beat you in amateurs and a guy who had this reputation, right? So you're dealing with all of that. And that's part of the deal. That's part of the turf. That's part of life in the Big Apple. All right, in the fast lane. Yes. But being that it's a mental game, Ken, what hurt and what was part of what played out for him running too fast and all the things that I'm saying, and part of the reasons for those things is that mentally you want to have confidence. You want to have belief. You want to have that stoutness about, where you are mentally going into a fight. When you get into the first round, which is the most important round of the fight, it really is, because you know what? I was all ready to say something in the corner, and that gets taken away from me. I was going to say, see, just another round like any other fight. So it's normal. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't now. Yep. Now, all of a sudden, for that moment, it was a 10-8 round. And you put in the fighter's head, it's not my night. That's where it started wrong. Mm-hmm. So you want to break down, you want to say, oh, Teddy, go flush it somewhere. No, really. Because I'm saying the same thing I would say if it wasn't my fighter. Mm-hmm. You got the referee making a bad call there, and everyone knows it's a bad call, and you're in that kind of fight, there's a signal goes right to the fighter. It ain't my night. And I'm not taking a line, out of On the Waterfront, that great movie, with Marlon Brando. I'm talking about real life here. All of a sudden, it's like things ain't right. This is starting off where what I was thinking could happen is happening. It's against me. Mm-hmm. It's not meant to be. So you're starting off with a negative. You said it very well earlier that, what did I say nobody could talk about in camp? Nothing negative. And you start off with that. So that's the beginning. That's the first thing. And, again, then you get, you're a little bit out of sorts. He was a little out of control. As terrific as he was fighting, he was like racing to almost stay ahead of the devil. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And instead of being a little bit more settled and just more in control, he was doing it. He was doing everything we trained to do. He really was. I give him so much credit. He was doing everything he was trained to do, but he was doing it at too fast a pace, like
too busy almost.
Not in his body. Mm-hmm. Like outside himself.
Yep.
You ever hear the great Michael Jordan say, sometimes you just got to slow the game down. Mm-hmm. You got to slow the game. You can't be trying to catch up to the game. You got to be with the game. You got to slow the game down. You got to slow it down. You can't be racing ahead of the game. And it was kind of a case like that. The same thing. And all the great athletes understand it, but sometimes it gets away from you. And he was ahead of the fight. I know that sounds crazy, but it was like he was ahead of the fight, and the fight was over here, and he was over here. And he was running too fast with it and doing everything right. And it shows you that it was there. It was programmed in him. Do this, bah, 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 do this, get that. But it wasn't in the comfort zone it needed to be in. It wasn't in the control zone. Everything's about control. And as great as he wasn't in control of himself. He was in control of the other guy while he was doing it because he was winning the fight.
Yeah.
But he wasn't controlling the most important parts of it. The parts that are always the most important parts. What you're feeling. Doesn't feel good. Just think about it. Just think about being in a F-14 fighter jet, going up and those G-forces hitting you and making your face go. You've seen it on TV. Just think about that. And think about doing that and feeling that. And then you got to go do your job. Then you got to go run your race. I don't think you'd run too good a race. Okay?
Nope.
And he was feeling that. Those G-forces. That, again, is it all the referee's fault? No. Didn't help. It didn't help. And the mental part, there were other things that happened too. I always said to you, everyone was saying how great he looked in camp. I was saying, calm down. Things can change tomorrow. They could change in an hour. They could change in 5 minutes. Things can change in the locker room. Things can change in a walk from the locker room to the ring. Yeah, they can. Some of those things happen. And again, I'm not going to mention them. I'm only mentioning the one I did. You know why? Because it's mentionable. Because everyone saw it. The other ones nobody saw, only I'm aware of. And again, it sound like piss-ass excuses. So I ain't going to mention it. I ain't going to do that. The one that's there, hey, you're a big boy. You get paid as a referee. You get paid as a commissioner. Taxpayer money, by the way. Do your freaking jobs. So I can mention that. And I don't care. I'm not one of these people that, I'm not going to, because I want to stay friends with everyone. Now, I don't want to be enemies with everyone. But I know that there's no such thing as being friends with everybody. And how are you going to be friends with everybody if you're going to do your job? Only say what is convenient to say. Only say what's going to make people feel good. No, sometimes you got to say things because they got to be said. Period. And all night long, what bothers me is, again, I think Serb is a better commissioner than a lot of commissioners out there. We got a lot of crappy commissioners out there that don't do crap. And he takes his stern task. He likes that. He likes to be identified as the taskmaster.
Yeah.
As the, you see
For
it.
sure. No,
Okay, good. Be the taskmaster all night long then. Be that with everything. With the things that are most important. Here come in the locker room, throw everybody out. You witnessed it.
I see.
Out! This is my place. We don't have this dead wood. Okay, fine.
He did that right at the beginning of the fight. We were in the corner. There were 4 of us in the corner. We had the cut man. We had your second, Saul, myself, and then we had the strength coach and a couple of the Ukrainian guys that walked out with us. He came through, swept everyone, was like, "Get the F out of here," and threw them all out. I don't even know where they sat to watch the fight. They didn't have seats. They were ringside.
What I'm saying is, listen, you got to run a tight ship. I ain't knocking him for that. Okay? That's his reputation. He wants that to be his reputation. He wants that to be known when you go to Pennsylvania. Philadelphia is part of Pennsylvania, last I checked. And that this is his baby. Fine. But do it with things that are even more important than who's in the freaking corner or who's in the locker room. Like who's hitting who behind the back of her head, especially with all the tragedies. And yeah, I'm going to go there, okay? Because I'm pissed. Because I'm mad at myself, too. And I ain't freaking blame. I say it again. Beterbiev beat us with this and this, okay? So that's clear. But there's other stuff. If I was at ringside, again, it would have been included in my broadcast. Because if I'm aware of it, I want to let the people be aware of it. because it's all part of the particles in the air, the molecules in the air. And molecules all put together, what do? They form something. Don't they, Ken?
Yep.
They form something. They're part of something. So I'm saying, yeah, throw everyone out of the corner. Yeah, be strict. Fine. But then freaking be strict with your freaking referee that's hitting a guy behind the head and pushing him down, hitting him with elbows and pushing the back of his head down to get an advantage. And again, that's Beterbiev's thing. Fine. I don't blame Beterbiev. I blame the freaking people who are in charge of that stuff, enforcing that stuff, stopping that stuff, regulating that stuff. That's who I'm talking about. And so if you're going to be strict with who's in the corner, then be strict on all counts, on all fronts, on most important fronts. Be strict with that. With all night long, the guy's hitting him behind the head. No, don't get. I've seen this commissioner. He's not bashful. You would say that, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. I've seen him get up on the ring apron and embarrass a referee by stopping a fight when he thought it should be stopped and ref wasn't doing his job. So
Really?
Yeah, no, he's done that before. So fine. Again, he's the guy. The buck stops there, just like it stops with me. Right? It's my fault he lost. Okay, I say it again. But the buck stops with him. It's his fault that punches were thrown behind the head and we're in the hospital for 2 days because of those punches. 2 nights.
Yeah.
And he's fine. Alex is fine. He had a slight concussion from the punches back there. And he's fine. The CAT scans, everything's clean. He's fine. But he shouldn't have got hit those punches. So you could stand up on a ring apron and not worry about a referee's feelings or reputation if he didn't stop it when you thought it should be stopped. Then how come you can't do the same thing when you're watching these punches behind the head if you don't think the referee's stopping it? Why can't you do that? Why? You've done it with other things. So that you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, and so, again, that didn't help. That didn't help. All right? And like I said, there were other things from the mental standpoint were things that became part of the fight. But at the end of the day, the relentlessness, the physicality of a man named Beterbiev won. It got to us.
Was there anything Beterbiev did that surprised you? I know we knew he was tough and we knew what he was capable of.
The best thing for me to say were easy. Again, if I'm going to be something that I try never to be, a BS artist, say, oh, yeah. This way, I let myself off the hook. Oh, yeah, because it sounds so gracious. It sounds so nice. Oh, yeah, he was a little faster than I thought. He was a little, yeah. No. It's just that you don't know how intense it is till you see it firsthand. That I'll tell you. It's like wait, first time you watch all the movies of great white sharks, okay? I'm trying to grab something strong, something vivid. And you watch it on the Nature Channel, whatever the freak that channel is, right? And you, okay. And then you get a chance to go to Australia, to the Great Barrier Reef, and you happen to be out there somewhere, and all of a sudden, bang! A great white shark.
I think you scared the cameraman
Pick
to
up
death.
that guy. Pick up that guy,
Rob,
please.
get him off the floor.
All of a sudden, a great white shark comes right by. Holy, I don't want to curse, so I won't, but
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
I've seen it on the Nature Channel, but until you see it firsthand, you don't feel and recognize and appreciate the size, the strength, the awesome, those things, the things that are awesome about it, the force of it. You feel the force of it. You feel you could feel the force of this guy when you're there. So that I say yes. Until you're there and you see it keep coming. Yeah, that was impressive. Okay, but as far as was his jab better, was his right hand this or what? No, nothing was better. Nothing. It was everything we expected to be. everything. And we knew he would be determined. He'd be oncoming and aggressive. We understood all that. But the force of it, you could feel it when you're there in the corner.
The thing that surprised me, I was shocked at how he just absorbed Alex's shots and just kept coming. I was like, how is this guy walking through these shots? Because he hit him with some big punches and some great combinations. And I was like, he didn't even seem phased.
And listen, give Alex credit too.
Oh, yeah.
He showed a hell of a chin. And the back of the head. I mean, and did that wear him? Did that wear him mentally and physically? I'm going to say the same thing I would at ringside. So I don't care if you guys are saying, oh, you're making an excuse. I'm not making an excuse. I said it. We got beat. But that wore him down too. Mm-hmm. That was part of the equation. That was part of what went on and what, at the end of the day, was part of the result, part of what we had to deal with, part of what got us to where we got to get worn down. That was part of it. All of that. That didn't have to be, but it was. It was. But, again, I thought Alex, I think I described it. Mm-hmm. I thought Alex was terrific. I'm proud of him. I think that he will come back and be better. I think that sometimes you have to lose to know how good you can be, mm-hmm. or how much farther you can travel. You know, as I said earlier.
Well, he should take some confidence in the fact that he was winning that fight.
Well, a lot of confidence in that. And
where do you think?
I'll tell you another thing that didn't happen. As long as I'm making my knocks on the commission. Mm-hmm. Two of the judges had us winning, even mm-hmm. with that bad score mm-hmm. in the first round, right? Mm-hmm. One didn't. That one judge that didn't, he was changed from the judge that was supposed to be in that seat the day of. How's that happen, Ken? Yeah, I know I know, I get it. How's that happen, Ken? And again, in a commission that...
Did they give you an explanation?
No. And a commission, I don't know if we ever got to ask for it because we were in the hospital, mm-hmm. to be quite frank. But in a again, this is a commission that does everything strict, by the book, supposedly.
For sure. He was very
you're
strict.
You're a witness of that.
Oh, yeah.
All right? So how do you now allow a judge to be changed that was not... we weren't notified of it. We didn't have a chance to say we don't want that guy. Mm-hmm. You know, we didn't have a chance to knock it down and say, hey, I mean, we knew the judge was going in, and then the day of, the judge, something happened, whatever, but still, all of a sudden he's replaced with this guy who, I know it's a coincidence, right? What else could it be? But it's a heck of a coincidence that the guy that gets changed is the only guy that don't see the fight like the other two guys.
Yeah.
And we're not notified of it. And again, I'll say it again, in a strict commission. A commission where the guy, you know, is known for dotting his I's and crossing his T's. And again, a lot of people wouldn't say this. If he's the man that I think he is, he'll take it the right way. But if he's not, hey. But I'm going to say it because it deserves to be said. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to say it because, I want to have an easy time all the time and everyone like me.
No one's ever going to accuse you of trying to curry favors.
Oh, God. I want to be honest.
Yeah.
As best as I can. None of us are completely honest. Let's get that clear.
Yep.
I want to try to be as honest as I can, even when it's uncomfortable. Isn't that part of being honest? Mm-hmm. You could do it when it's a little uncomfortable, when it could be a little inconvenient.
Those are the times when it counts the most.
Yeah, you know, I mean, and again, I'm not going to fool myself to thinking all these guys, they're going to, they'll send me a Christmas card if I'm nice to them. You know, I don't even want Christmas cards. You know, my wife puts them on a string. It's nice. Yeah. It's nice, but I don't need them. I mean, I want people that I know care about me. I don't want to play games with myself.
Yeah.
And care about me for the right reasons.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And part of the right reasons, they know where they stand with me.
That's for sure.
That's what I want.
Yeah.
So, at the end of the day, my hat's off to Beterbiev. You're a classy champion. Besides being a tough son of a gun and a strong physical force, you're a classy guy. You're a classy guy. You said some nice things after the fight. The two of yous are classy. You two of yous behave like champions should behave, without any of the crap that's not necessary. You know, Alex didn't have to give him his belt. He asked for the belt, for Alex's belt, so he could take it back home with him, you know, after the fight. And Alex could have made him wait. He didn't have to.
Yeah,
but Alex is so
fans,
gracious. What did he do? And then you explain it, but I'll just say what he did. He walked to his locker room. I went with him.
Yep.
He went to his locker room and gave him the belt to take home. And then Alex will get it returned to him in 2 weeks. But that's class.
For those who don't know,
that's a champion.
When you win a belt, the champion comes with his belt. It has his picture on it. It belongs to him. The winner, should he upset the champion, he gets the belt for picture purposes in the ring and then comes backstage and typically walks over, returns the belt to the champion, to the former champion, in this case, Alex. And Beterbiev asked him, do you mind if I hold on to your belt for a week? I'm going back to Russia. I'm meeting with Putin, etc., etc. And Alex looked at Teddy and said, you know what? He can take the belt. He gave him his own personal belt. That's not common. And he gave him the belt because it takes the WBC maybe a week or two to make up a new belt and have it sent out. It's a whole process. But Alex went over to Beterbiev's locker room. I was with you guys. I don't think you saw me, but he went in, presented the belt to Beterbiev. One of the trainers came out and explained that he'd like to borrow it if it's possible, but he understands if Alex wasn't okay with it. But to Alex's credit, he said, of course, came in, presented him with the belt, gave him the case, the carrying case that he had bought for it and everything. And it was a nice moment between two awesome fighters, and that, like, easily candidate for fight of the year. Those guys, it was incredible. I mean, it was painful to be on the losing side of it, but if you can remove that part of it, it was an incredible fight. I don't think anyone was disappointed with the price of admission for that one.
No, why would they be? I mean, they poured it all out in the ring. You know, that's the poster child for pouring it out, or one of the poster childs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because a lot of fighters do that. But those two did. You know, they definitely did. And while I'm on it, like I said, I'm going to call things the way I would call them, you know, if I had no horse in the race,
mm-hmm.
you know, so to speak. And I think most people had him winning.
Mm-hmm.
You can always, it's, you know, whatever people think is fine.
Mm-hmm.
Most people had him winning. But obviously that one judge didn't, but a lot of people did. Most people that, I didn't go and take a consensus of it, but I didn't care. But people that have come to me have felt up. But then it changed dramatically, of course. The pressure... you know, I always it finally got, you know, the tide came in.
Mm-hmm.
I use it against myself. You know, I use it with other. What's good for the goose is good for the gander.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. You know, the tide came in. You know, you do as much as you can to push that tide from coming, but the tide came in. You know, and we were pushing it as much as we could, but finally the tide came in. You know, but I understand. I'll touch on this too, because I would if I was in the seat that I'm supposed to be in. You know, not just the trainer seat. Andre Ward, from what I was told, obviously I haven't watched the fight. I don't know if I ever will. I'll watch it. I shouldn't say I don't know if I will. I'm a pro. I'm supposed to be, right? When it's time to come back, I will watch it with the fighter, because that will be part of the lessons we need to learn and part of the journey back. Yeah, but now I won't, and when I have to, I will. But I was told that Andre, and listen, this is a guy who I caught his fights in the Olympics. He's an Olympic gold medalist, world champion. I've had nothing but, and I still have nothing but respect and admiration for him as a fighter and as a person. I've always said it. I've always been very quick to state on ESPN before he worked there and when I was there for all those years, always in describing him as a champion human being and a champion in the ring and outside the ring, you know, and I still do. And I said that because of how I felt, what he showed me as a fighter, and the way he conducted himself, which is important to me, the way he conducted himself as a human being, and the way he carried the sport forward as an ambassador for the sport in the kind of way where you wish all fighters could be, the way Beterbiev and Gvozdyk were that night. So, but I understood that he had us losing where the fight, and that's his prerogative and his opinion. And maybe he's right. He's not right in my eyes. That doesn't mean he's wrong. He wasn't right in two of the judges' eyes. That doesn't make him wrong. But what I'm saying is that I would hope it's just because of what was in his eyes, not in his heart or anywhere else, as some kind of bias against me. I would hope. Because where that comes from is some years ago when I was going to fights there, when we were doing these pound-for-pound things that are they're so subjective.
Exactly. It's like judging art or the Oscar Awards.
Yeah, like right now I have Lomachenko number 1 and Crawford number 2. I could flip-flop that, and I say it all the time. I always say it. But back in those days, I had Lomachenko number 1 and Ward number 2. And being a proud fighter, and how could he not be proud to be who he is? Of course he's proud. The same way as any man should have pride. Especially to be able to do the things of the level that he's done. So he asked me one time, we were together, and he said, Teddy, you know, and again, it's his pride. He said, how come you have me number 2? And I explained to him, I used to have him number 1. Yeah, I guess you didn't see that list. But I changed it at that point because they change. Because he had been inactive. If you remember, he went through a period that he was inactive. And while he was inactive, I changed it during that inactivity. But again, part of why he was such a great champion was because of that pride. So sometimes that pride just keeps burning. There's no dimmer switch. All right, I get it. I understand the human condition better than I think most, or as good as most. So he saw it as, I guess, in his mind, a knock that how could you not have me? And like I said, I explained it to him, but I just would hope. I know a guy like that, maybe it stays in his craw. I would hope he's better than that. And I would hope I'm better than that. But that if he did feel that way, he felt that way really, truly based on what it should be based on.
Yeah.
Not on having something bias against me because of that. That's all. And I only bring it up. Oh, Teddy, why are you bringing that up? Because I will bring everything up if I'm breaking down a fight. If you haven't noticed, I bring everything up.
Yeah.
Okay? I mean, if you were picking your nose during the show, I bring that up.
Yeah. Trust me, I know. Well, I appreciate you taking the time and discuss this with me, and not only that, but sharing with the listeners, because I know a lot of people were curious to hear your thoughts on the fight. It was a big one and obviously disappointing for our side, but so I really do appreciate you taking the time to open up about this. I know it's not easy, and I know how much you suffered with this and continue to suffer with it, and I saw you there in the hospital with them the night after, and it was it was one of the hardest losses I've ever been involved with in any capacity of my life. So appreciate you for doing that. Want to give a quick shout out again to my Athletic Greens. These guys are great. Again, please check them out. athleticgreens.com/Atlas for a 20-day supply, free 20-day supply with your first purchase. check them out. It's the one thing that I must take every day, no matter what, whether I'm traveling, at home, training, not training. I make sure I get all my vitamins and nutrients with Athletic Greens. And check out Teddy's audiobook coming Monday, November 4th on Amazon.com.
Can I say one thing before
Sure.
we close?
Of course.
Is that all right with you, Rob?
Yeah, definitely.
I want to close with something that and if it was too personal, I wouldn't, but it was posted, and so I think if I haven't explained everything, I think that maybe this gives more clarity, okay? I want to just read something that I wrote to Alex after the fight.
Sure.
Is that all right?
I love it.
This is to Alex. He obviously has already gotten this. There is a darkness that one walks into when knowing there is risk and uncertainty waiting for them. But there is also a certain light that can be found through the dark, an understanding that comes from having gone to the inner caves of oneself and discovering what is there. That journey can create a path that can lead to a new and greater places that would not have been possible before. The courage it took to walk into this place allows you to now leave with a lantern of knowledge and awareness that will forever provide a beacon of light wherever you go. I know I don't have to say this, but I'm proud of him.
I know you are. And that sounds like a good spot to wrap this one up. Thanks again for doing this.